Hello, everybody. This is Teacher Levy. Today, I will be making another slow English video. I have made other slow English videos on my channel. You can go check those out if you want. Notice, check those out if you want. Today, I am in a or near a quarry. A quarry is where they mine stone. This might be, notice might, this might be a sand quarry where they mine sand or a sandstone quarry. I will also show you the word steep. This is steep. You can see how steep this hillside is. It is, it is very steep. Keep in mind, these videos are designed for intermediate or advanced level learners who are looking to improve their listening comprehension or work on their pronunciation. Sometimes you might even find new vocabulary or useful phrases or idioms in these videos. Today, I wanted to talk about the East Coast, the East Coast of the US. I have mentioned before that I am from Connecticut. Notice Connecticut. Connecticut is a small state on the East Coast next to New York. When we say New York, everybody thinks of New York City. But New York is a very big state. Notice state. We can practice saying state. New York is a very big state, and the northern part of New York, notice part, the northern part of New York is called upstate New York. This area has a lot of nature and forests. While I was growing up, I was a member of the Boy Scouts group in my area. Boy Scouts is an activity, notice activity, usually for kids or teenagers, sometimes for adults too, and it emphasizes learning skills in nature. For example, learning how to make a fire, or how to tie knots, or how to use a knife, or make a tent. In Boy Scouts, we did a 10-day trip to upstate New York where we went camping. Notice went is okay, but we can practice saying where we went camping. We stayed 10 days in the woods. The woods is similar to this area, is also the woods. And we cooked some of our own food, and we made our own tents, and we did different Boy Scout activities. For example, building fires and finding different locations using a compass. I will show a picture of a compass. New York also borders. It borders means it has a border with Canada, and you can go see the Niagara Falls, which is an example of a waterfall. Notice waterfall. A waterfall is where water falls. The East Coast is also a beautiful area because of the four seasons. We have summer, fall, winter, and spring. Sometimes we can say autumn for fall, fall or autumn. The four seasons have their own characteristics. We have different activities, for example, skiing in the winter or picking apples in the fall. We also have different festivals during the different seasons, and it is different from the West Coast, for example, California, which does not have the same four seasons as the East Coast, more specifically, the Northeast Coast. A state on the East Coast that I don't hear, notice don't, don't hear many people talking about is Vermont. Notice Vermont. We can practice saying Vermont. I don't hear a lot of people speak about Vermont. Vermont is a beautiful place, especially in the winter. During the winter, you can go skiing or snowboarding on the mountains. Notice mountains. We can say mountains, but for practice, you can start saying mountains. You can go skiing or snowboarding on the mountains in Vermont, a state which you might be familiar with. Familiar with is to know. You might be familiar with is Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is famous for Philadelphia. Philadelphia, sometimes people say Philly for short. Notice short. For short, sometimes people call Philadelphia Philly. Philly is famous for the movie Rocky. That is partially where Rocky, the boxing movie, was filmed. It is also well known for a famous food, the Philly cheesesteak. The Philly cheesesteak. Steak is a type of meat. Notice meat. It is a type of meat from a cow, which we call beef. Beef is meat from a cow. The East Coast is known for the great food. Of course, there are a large mix of cultures who arrived to the East Coast during different times in history, and this led to many different types of food. For example, pizza, which Connecticut and also New York and other places on the East Coast are very famous for. Of course, if there are Italians, perhaps they would argue that the pizza does not match. Does not match means it is not equal to, or it is not the same as. The Italians might argue that New York, Connecticut pizza does not match with getting pizza from Italy. Notice Italy. We can say Italy, but we can practice saying Italy. It is not the same as pizza from Italy. Education, notice education is another area where there are some highlights, or highlights are things worth mentioning. There are some highlights for schools like Ivy League schools. Ivy League schools in America are also, notice, schools. Ivy League schools in America are the best schools, universities, for example, Yale or even MIT or Harvard. These are all very well known schools, and they're tough to get into. Tough to get into means difficult. They are hard to get into. It is, or it is not easy to get accepted into these schools. You need to have top academic, top academic performance to get accepted into these schools. They are also expensive. The tuition, the tuition is what you need to pay to go to the school. The tuitions are very expensive, but sometimes students can receive scholarships. Scholarships are when you don't need to pay the full amount. Notice amount. You don't need to pay the full amount of the tuition. This could be because of your academic performance. If you have great grades, notice in the US we say grades. In some countries, maybe England or the UK, they say marks or scores, but we say grades. If you have great grades, sometimes you are able to get a scholarship and not pay the full tuition for going to your university. You can also have a athletic scholarship or a scholarship for sports. If you are a great athlete, if you are a great athlete, you can also receive a scholarship and you will play that sport on the college team. Notice we say college and university. In the US, we use those two words synonymously. They are almost synonyms. To go to college or to go to university, those are basically the same. So, if you are a great athlete or you have good grades, you can get a scholarship. Notice get, you can get a scholarship and not pay the full amount of your tuition. Also, notice amount, not pay the full amount. There are rare means it doesn't happen often. There are rare cases or rare times when people get a full ride scholarship. Full ride scholarship means you don't have to pay anything. The school provides 100% of the tuition for you to go to that university or college. These full ride scholarships happen seldom. Seldom means rarely. They seldom give out these full ride scholarships, and you have to be a great athlete, or we can say an exceptional. Exceptional is similar to great or amazing. You have to be an exceptional athlete or an exceptional student to receive a full ride scholarship. I'm not sure, but perhaps unlike other countries, it is common for students to live on campus. The campus or school campus is the area surrounding the school where they have the school buildings. They also have dormitories. Dormitories are where the students live. They have rooms where they can sleep and study. And they might have restaurants on the school campus or cafes or even gyms. Notice cafes. A cafe is a coffee shop. A cafe. I digressed a little talking about education. Notice I digress means I get off topic or I got off track. So I started talking about something else and not the East Coast topic. But there are so many other great places on the East Coast and states which are not so widely spoken about, which means people don't talk about them so much. For example, Virginia or Cape Cod, which, if you are living in the East Coast, you definitely notice, definitely know about Virginia, Virginia Beach, Cape Cod. Those are in different places, but if you live there, you definitely know those locations. They are good for a summer break or to take a 1 or 2 day trip to those areas. They are by the water, so it is a good place perhaps to relax and to enjoy the scenery. The scenery is the view, what you see. Enjoy the scenery. I want to show that this is a trail. Sometimes I say I am walking on a trail. This is a trail, and On the sign, that is a sign on the tree. It shows that it is a running trail. Sometimes you can have running trails, walking trails, or even bicycle trails. So there are a few types of trails. It seems, or it looks like. We can say it seems or it looks like today I am walking on a running trail. Perhaps I should be running. I hope you found this video helpful. Perhaps you improved your listening comprehension, or you could work on your pronunciation. If you learned something new about the East Coast, then let me know in the comments. I'm curious if anyone has traveled to the East Coast, specifically maybe outside of New York, because New York is a big tourist destination. A lot of people travel there. But if you have been to the East Coast or gone outside of New York, let me know in the comments. And thank you for your time today. If you have tips or suggestions or feedback, you can also leave those in the comments. And feel free to like and subscribe if you support these slow English videos. I will be making more in the future. Thank you and have a great day. Bye bye.